hardcore gacha game. Harder than the NTR gacha game where you the waifus after you lose them.
Hello trees.
I don't know about
Hello
that.
bush. Hello dendro slime. Another wonderful day in Gacha.
Wow.
What's all this little baby gaming? Let me tell you about a real man's game. This game's got swords, it's got monsters,
Man!
bars, and time travel.
Oh,
It's
yeah!
a baby's Gacha game. When you die in this game, you die forever.
Oh,
Gacha's favorite
yeah!
word, she died, huh? Poof! Now she's space dust.
Well, not exactly, but have you ever wanted a gacha game that didn't just hold your hand or was hardcore and more unforgiving than what you usually see? No?
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, and it can't exist by design. Gacha games are meant to be accessible by everybody in order to make as much money as possible. That does not exist. There's no way.
Nowadays, we see many more games focused on casual players of games, and everything is focused around it. Lots of tutorials, a very simple growth process with everything
What game is he talking
neatly
about?
explained in a compendium, no punishment at all for failure, and yellow paint all over saying where to go with 100 accessibility options.
Okay, I don't mind yellow paint because I'm dumb and I get lost everywhere, bro. I would be happy with the game where like it would just let me, it would put me in a little train track and I get into a cart and it takes me to the next location while I ride my little train, and I'm happy with that because I'm stupid, man. Open world stress me out. Just put me in my little cart and push me off.
We're watching a movie. Get your popcorn.
Okay. Well, what if a game completely threw all of that out of the window and was hard to play and even harder to master with almost no tutorials and possibly
I don't
permanent
think
death of your
hard
party
equals
members who
good.
you've lovingly
Your mom would disagree.
raised or obtained through a gacha, a game where you can actually experience failure and repercussions for your actions. In this video, I'll be going over a new gacha game called Wizardry Variants Daphne, whose
What
name
the
still
fuck
makes
is that?
no sense to me at all since I'm like 40 hours in and I have no idea who the hell Daphne even is. Are we talking about
I've never
Daphne
heard of
from
this shit
Teenage
in my
Mutant?
whole
Also,
life.
This game is sadly only in portrait mode at the moment, so let me make it a little bit easier to watch this video for you. As always, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel as I'll be making more videos like this one, or go to twitch.tv/Genizod.
Okay, I feel like I'm getting kind of lost here.
Wizardry is one old-ass series. Maybe your grandpappy knows it. First released in 1981, it's considered to be the inspiration of most RPG games that have come after. Initially
Really?
made in America, it had its rights passed around until eventually being bought by a Japanese company. Starting
Okay.
as a super simple dungeon crawler based on Dungeons and Dragons, it is the user play first person and move space by space through a dungeon where you run into monsters and fight in turn-based combat.
All right.
Somehow, this series has lasted over 40 years until today and just released their new games for phones and soon to be PC
I like
as
that
well.
wolf bitch.
Also, this game got $3 million from the Japanese government for development, so I'm glad their tax dollars are being used for a
3 million yen, that's like $200 in American, right?
good cause. When beginning, you'll be asked questions, and depending on your answers, eventually be assigned an
Holy
alignment
fuck, bro
for
is
good,
losing
neutral,
it in that
evil, or
photo.
gooner. The game then starts with you running from a demon without any hope of escape. No matter where you turn, it's chasing you, and you're low on
Oh,
HP.
fuck, he's coming right
You're
at me.
eventually forced to confront this monster, and you're killed instantly. Literal skill issue in the first 5 minutes. But
Damn.
death is not the end for your main character, and as time passes, you eventually begin to grow back your flesh on your bones and resurrect as a ghoul with no memory.
Oh, that's sick.
Confused, you run into a ghost of a woman named Lulunard, who immediately reminded me of somebody else, but fortunately is actually a really fun and helpful partner to keep around that doesn't waste your time at all.
shit.
You learn that you have the ability to reverse
Oh,
time
that
and
got me
objects
hard.
Or people, which may be how you're currently alive. Once you reach town, you find out the king
Man,
has
a
been
character
kidnapped
named
by a
Amnesia,
demon,
truly
and they're
unique.
hiring adventurers to go save him from the dungeon. Obviously, you go with them to save the king, and your journey begins. I
Okay.
will say that the story is somewhat simple.
Holy
Honestly,
shit!
really good for a gacha game, and I hate gacha game stories.
True,
What makes the story
same.
so good
They're
is it
usually
doesn't
pretty
feel like
shit.
it's trying to hit a word limit for a summer break essay or waste your time at all. All the dialogue characters have feel like it matters or is adding to the characters or world. Talking to random NPCs even can uncover new information or relate to your current journey with tips. There's even been a few
I miss
times
him.
where a more seasoned adventurer's advice has actually helped me in the dungeons. It's more of a dark fantasy that isn't afraid to have darker themes. It also has some pretty unique twists for a gacha game that I really didn't see coming and won't spoil just yet, but are genuinely an amazing idea in a gacha game. Now, let's talk about the combat. You can have a party of up to 6 characters made up of the classes Knight, Fighter, Thief, Priest, and Mage, with the main character able to swap to any. The character classes determine the stats and skills they learn, but you can also swap some characters to other classes and learn those.
This video is also not sponsored, so I'm actually taking Genazar's word pretty seriously here.
Damage from melee weapons
it actually does look pretty good and also very different.
Themselves. The combat is fairly simple turn-based strategy. I'm sure many of us have played these types of games.
Yeah, it kind of looks like For the King.
That bad, right? Whoops, you got ambushed. Your whole party just got killed in one turn. You took a fire character into a water enemy? Enjoy taking multiplied damage. Ooh, stuck at the rank up exam and you can't level your party anymore until you beat this really hard boss? Tough luck, get good. You got poisoned with toxin? Well, you didn't level your poison removal enough and it's too powerful to dispel on field. Killed 100
Bro, this sounds psychotic.
A Korean manhwa regressor goblin main character reborn 1,000 times, who learned the secret Muriam arts and cultivated his chi for 10,000 years showed up and one-shot you. Okay, these enemies are jokes so far.
Oh, 4 goblins in a cave with 1 woman. I have seen this many times before. Okay, that is rough.
Never mind. This game can be pretty unforgiving sometimes, and for the average gacha player,
the killer rabbit?
Brutal. Now remember when I said this game has permadeath? It does. You can actually lose your characters forever.
Fuck that.
Here's the catch. You only really lose them if you fail to understand the system. As you play the game, characters will have a fortitude bar that goes down under certain circumstances and down a lot when they die in combat. When they die, you can choose to revive them by turning back time in combat or later at the church, but it reduces their fortitude by a ton. Now, if their fortitude is too low, they have a chance to turn to dust forever when revived. But here's the thing.
That's fucking
you
horrific.
Regain fortitude over time, even when the character's dead. So as long as you don't play insanely risky all the time with low fortitude, it should be fine. What this ends up doing is essentially making fortitude the energy system in this game, where you can play forever as long as you don't lose too much. Essentially, skill equals
Dude, this game sounds
time per
sick.
day, which can go for an entire day if you really want it to. As you learn more about the game and make mistakes, you slowly understand the entire picture, and every little upgrade, level up, or step you take feels valuable.
Can you really not force landscape it? Because the portrait is the only thing killing it for me right now.
This is a feeling that's missing from many games today, not just gacha, the fact that challenges feel difficult, but rewarding. There is, however, one...
I mean, I will say that ZZZ's tower mode actually feels relatively challenging, so I have been enjoying that quite a bit. But I get that it's not for everybody.
One incredibly difficult part of the game, possibly the most hardcore out of everything. Playing the game. Yep, this game is probably the hardest gacha I've ever tried to play due to its an absurd number of bugs and the fact that many phones can't even run it and many emulators crash upon opening the game. Oh, you tried this quest? Now you're locked onto the screen for days.
Well, yeah, that's probably a problem.
Some poor bastard got teleported behind a locked door for over a week since the game saves where you are at all times. Every day you'd log in for a new patch that'd fix multiple bugs, but maybe not even yours. In the game, you can rename your characters one time when you register them to the guild.
Oh, cool.
But after the first day, I literally just couldn't anymore due to a bug and had to use default names.
Oh, fuck that.
This game definitely released prematurely and needed more testing. However, most of these issues have actually been fixed by now. Or is what I'd like to say, if they didn't just screw up incredibly hard. The first banner character was named Wandering Princess Lanavale, and there is a normal version of her in the game as well. Both have the same skills and passives, which people thought was weird, but it's basically like a fancy skin and it's a guaranteed way to get her. Neat. Turns out she was supposed to have completely different skills and passives, and they messed it up. So now they have to give more compensation. These poor devs
How in the fuck
I've
do
never
you
heard of a
fuck
character
up
having
that
a
hard?
completely incorrect skill set and be released for a month without them fixing or
That's
acknowledging
insane.
it. They shouldn't even have said anything and no one would have known. However, even with all of these issues, I think the game's great and the devs seem to be working hard on it. Also, apparently the game will be getting a PC port, so hopefully that can fix many issues. But if I know anything about Japanese PC ports, it could make Wuthering Waves launch look like the second coming of Christ. Now, let's talk about the gacha system in this game. It's bad, but almost
Yeah, that's what I
in
figured.
a weirdly good way. But let me explain the ups and downs of it. First of all, the in-game lore of it is really cool, where your pull currency is bones.
Yeah, the banner
and you're
graphics look
taking
really good.
Humans, dwarves, elves, beastmen, bones, and turning back time on them to revive ancient heroes from the dead. However, the pull income is horrendous and
I
hard to get.
actually
So the silver lining is
kinda
that
like the
legendary
graphics,
pull
too.
rate is a whopping
They're not good, but they're,
5%.
like,
Essentially, you
nostalgic.
get so few pulls, but you
Like,
have
they're
a 1 in 20
robust,
chance of
they're
it being
meaty.
something great. Also, the shop is
They're
some of
dark.
the worst
I kinda
deals
like the feel of
I've
it.
ever seen in a gacha, and spending money doesn't feel that great, somehow making Genshin's lack of packs look merciful. The game has a spark system where you can buy the character after 100 pulls, which if their pull rate was better, would be pretty good. But now let me explain that even though the gacha is really bad overall, it somehow also is one of the best I've ever seen
How?
for free to play. First of all, you are guaranteed getting at least 2 legendary characters, with one of them actually being a selector as a new player.
Oh, that's
Also,
great.
every character in the game is pretty useful, and honestly, almost any character has a purpose. When a character is pulled, some of their stats
Okay.
are randomized,
For now.
and they have a random amount of bonus stats that you can also allocate. So you can pull a 3-star that's
Oh, shit, you can do stat alignment?
4-star or even close to a 5-star.
That is so sick.
Jank free-to-play characters and doing as well as anyone else. And
Okay, I fuck with that a
Every
lot.
character has different innate elements and alignments, making some better for certain parties or fights. Every character can also be fed others because they all have a special innate ability that can be taught to others. Now, there is one huge issue with all of this. If you're a giant gooner, this game doesn't have much content to goon to. I know. A gacha game you can't crank to every 10 minutes.
But there was that
Hell,
wolf
the hottest
girl.
character I own sacrificed her parents in a demonic ritual and already has an evil god inhabiting her body.
Yeah, all
I'm
inhabit her
already
body
cooked.
too.
Which brings me to my
There's
next
that wolf
point,
girl
the
right there,
friendship
man.
system. It's
I fuck
much
that.
more organic than other games, where after missions, teammates will invite you to drink and ask you questions
Yeah,
about
it's
the
all good.
adventure and what can be done better. As you get closer, you
With
learn stories
consent, of
about
course.
their past and who they were, and they even start to have nicer lines towards you and smile more in the party. I just thought this was a really unique
It's a nice
friendship
touch. I
system,
like
and cool
that.
to see little details like this, and it gives no rewards. It's just for immersion. But this
Yeah,
is also
affiliation
something
progression,
that makes
that's nice.
this game feel more special. It feels more organic than forced. The story feels more real and grounded in the world. Death isn't treated the same as our world. Characters have their own alignments and stories, and combat is dangerous and small mistakes can lead to death. It really feels like a legitimate fantasy world that people inhabit. Now, one thing I really wanted to mention, especially to people who won't play this game, is a spoiler, so
I will play this if there is a PC client.
only listen to this if you're okay with a major story spoiler and also something really unique that I haven't seen in most games.
No, I won't. I'm not gonna watch it. But you can go watch Genozad's video to watch the spoiler if you want to. I'm gonna play the game when it comes out on PC port. This game looks fucking awesome. Genozad, your content is so fucking good, and I love the unique layers and the love for gacha that you have. That looks amazing. I'm gonna play the fuck out of it. Dude, I was actually that react was honestly probably pretty bad, but I was generally just taken aback from how good and unique that game looks. I'm going to play the shit out of that as soon as I can.